Okay, so we're live. We're live. Peace, peace, peace to the family. This is Brandon B. Dixon, and you're tuned in to the Power of Ownership podcast. Hold on a second. Let me get everything together first. All right, I got my guest host Stephen Contreras as well.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yep, I see that we're live on YouTube. So YouTube, Facebook, and we're here on Apple Live as well. Well, not we're recording on Apple. So let's get started right quick. Let's get started with the introductions. Let's promote. Let's dive right into the topic because we're not going to keep you too long. Probably keep you about 30 minutes here, and then we'll go from there. Also, the comment section will be open if you want us to read any questions uh, at the end of the show, or you got any comments for us. Please comment in the comment section. Let's go ahead and start it off. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur. My book, Sales, the Nucleus of Any Profession, is out right now. So y'all go ahead and grab a copy of that. I got my guest host, Stephen Contreras, as well here. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're going to go ahead and start promoting, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, hey guys, Stephen Contreras here. I'm a geologist in Houston, Texas, kind of like a Renaissance man, studier of the arts and science, trying to spread wealth to everyone who's listening through the power of love and healing, and trying to make the world a better place. One small step at a time.
Gotcha. All right, so what we're going to do, let's go ahead and start from our quick promotion real fast, and then let's go ahead and hop right into the topic. We're not going to keep you too long tonight. First of all, if y'all like what we doing, go ahead and cash app us, the Power of Ownership, $. Also, Steve has his own as well, $ Steven C1234. Right now it's mortgage season, so go to my website, www.hocmortgage.com. I got well, I'm gonna have to switch this up. I got a new vanity site, same site, but I just switched it up to make it easier because some reason people can't remember hocmortgage.com. So the new one's gonna be at www.applywithb.com. Apply with B. So B is me, BEE. So that's gonna be the new one. At Billionaire Loan, www.billionaireloanofficer.com if you want to book me for consultation, sales training, so on and so forth. Also, you can call me 832-775-8357. You can call me 24/7. At Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. Go ahead, add me on there. And Stevens is at Steven_Contreras_90. And it's Stephen Contreras on Facebook as well, right?
Yeah.
All right. And let's go ahead and start the show off. If this is your first time tuning in, the Power of Ownership podcast, we talk about not only ownership of properties and businesses, intellectual property, so on and so forth, but we talk about ownership of the mind, body, and soul. So we talk about how to bridge the gap between the seen and the unseen realm. Because without that foundation, you can't bring things into fruition into this third density plane. So we're one of the only shows that talk about make practical and pragmatic views and take them and tell you how to be successful and tell you how to, you know, achieve your goals in life. So, a lot of podcasts, you get one or the other, so we're the only ones that bridge the gap. So you get a very unique blend here on the Power of Ownership podcast, so let's go ahead and start off with this weekend. I mean, this week, actually. I'm so used to everything being on Sunday. So we want to come out with a little series. We're probably going to do the next 3 or 4 shows going into the new year for 2021. Call these the breakdown shows, where we're going in like on different scriptures, maybe song lyrics and stuff like that, and kind of bringing our philosophies to breaking those lyrics down even further, and so you can digest it and making points on what we stand for, what we believe in, our philosophy on life and success and love and stuff like that. So we're gonna call this the breakdown series. So I want to kick it off on one of the things that I've been talking about a lot and kind of piggybacking off the last show. We're talking about ownership versus non-ownership. We're talking about why we preach ownership. The next step is inheritance. I want to talk about. And I was talking about earlier on 8. fun versus funds, or fun over funds. And some people, some people are vice versa, and so on and so forth. So inheritance, I want to start off. I'm gonna start off, and I'll let Steve chime in. You let Steve start off, but I want to start off because that's the way I got it loaded in the cash. But let's start off with inheritance. And it's both. If you look at the topic, both of them tie together, because a lot of people that believe in having fun over funds don't leave an inheritance because they burn it all up because they're too busy having fun. So these both tie together. So I want to start off like this. Let me share my screen here, and let's see if this works. All right, can you see my screen here, Steve?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Okay. The first scripture I want to talk about, and I'm going to the Bible first, because I wanted to go to the Quran as well, but the Quran really just dives straight into the laws and stuff like that. So we're going to keep it light, and we're going to keep it biblical today. It's Proverbs 13:22. I'm looking at the King James Version. And it's a good man leaving an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid for the just. So let me read that one more time, and I'm going to break it down. It said, a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So let me get back to actually my screen here. So just to break that down, it's twofold. So it says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. That's your grandkids. Mm-hmm. So that's love within itself. That's a pure demonstration of love right there. That's one of the first things that you could do is not only, it's a full circle, not only realizing that we're all one, but loving yourself and loving your neighbor as you do yourself, and especially your family. And then doing stuff and demonstrating doing something by leaving something for something outside of you when you pass that you can't enjoy, that won't be for your material gain, that won't be for your gain, something for someone else. Also, it said the second part, it says the wealth of a sinner will be left for the righteous. I'm paraphrasing that, meaning that if you gain it unrighteously, it will be dispersed.
Yep.
Through for everybody else. So it has to be done out of love, as opposed to selfishness. That's what the whole verse is talking about. It has to be done out of love for my children's children, and then as opposed to just a rich man getting accumulating wealth through sensation, like I talk about sin for sensation, and just gaining it for just the hoard. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
You go ahead and chime in on that. Let's get it started.
Yeah, it is true. So all you really have in this world is your family. Your family is always there for you, no matter what, or they should be. And so if you are the breadwinner of the family, you're that staple pole in the building. You're trying to build for generations. That's the goal. If you look at it selfishly, like in that second part of that verse, and you start donating to all these charities and giving all your wealth away and not actually giving it to your family, then why are you doing it? You're just giving it all away. You can't take it all with you, but why not try to build something for the family? And the people who run this world, they think like that. They generate generations of wealth. There's a castle in Europe that has belonged to the same family for 33 generations. That's long-term wealth. Like, they have a home to live in for 33 generations. That's a long time, Right. And so that's the whole point, is like, you have to build for your children's children's if you're fortunate enough, And if you don't believe in your family, try to do something about it. Try to help them. If they don't want to be helped, that's okay. At least you tried, but at least try to build with the family, build something strong and stable. It's like the story of the Three Little Pigs. You want to build it with that brick house, so it doesn't get blown over.
Right, right. I want to piggyback this. Hold on a second. I want to piggyback this to my next thing I wanted to talk about. Hold on one second. I can't see it. Here we go. Let's go to this right here. Um, I want to piggyback this with this. Can you see my screen here?
Not yet. There it is.
All right, here we go. Here we go. This is one of my favorite artists, Jay-Z, by the way. I don't know. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
This is from his song called "Family Feud" that came out in 2017, I believe. From his 444 album, it was one of his best albums. Are you familiar with that album?
I am. Yeah, it's a good one.
So this is the second verse right here. He said, "A man that doesn't take care of his family can't be rich." Let me say it again. A man that don't take care of his family can't be rich. I watched Godfather. I missed that whole shit. My consciousness was Michael's common sense. I missed the karma that came as a consequence. So let's bring that back. So he's basically saying the same thing as the Proverbs. He said a man that can't take care of his family can't be rich. And that's the duality in that one little verse right there. That we were talking about. You got the good man leaves an inheritance for his children, as opposed to the sinner who accumulates and then spends it all himself, or doesn't provide for his family, or hoards it. He can't take it with it, so it's going to be dispersed anyway amongst the righteous. So he also talked about the Godfather. Which is probably 1, 2, and 3. He I guess he reflected back and looked at it, and he said, my consciousness was Michael's common sense. So he had to meditate on it and become conscious of it, and that was already common for that particular family. And then he goes further, said, I got karma, as a consequence.
Yeah. Karma is always a consequence.
So he broke that down, and that's one of the problems with our particular community. People with heavy melanin in their skin. This is our first really generation, one of the first generations where we're actually really getting money, and as a result, we really don't know what to do with it. The first, this hence the name. It's one of the meat I want to get to in this podcast, is that most people, it's almost like a kid in the candy store. I'm getting this money and they go crazy. I want to have the max fun that I can. I want to experience all that I can, which is cool. But at the same time, like you said, with this castle in England, let's think further down the line. Let's think, generations from now. Because don't forget, a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids. So if you spend it all, you want to have all the fun and you want to pop all the bottles and have, how many Jordans can you have? How many sneakers can you have? How many cars can you have? You see?
Yeah. It's not a long-term investment, is what you're saying.
Right. So I want to really get on people's noggin intergenerational wealth. And I'll let you chime in on that. And then,
Yeah. I'll go into the song I have here. These lyrics from Young Jeezy. It says, "That's why I'm so goon. Summertime, no Junes. Big family, small house, no room. They're like, oh God, why did he go so hard? Look what he's been through. He deserves an applause." Because it takes that work to build that wealth. When you come from a low income background, or a background that isn't the best, you're working your butt off to try to build something, to go hard, and you have to keep that work ethic. You got to keep that idea of, okay, how am I going to build, 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 build? And he's working hard at it. He's trying to build something that lasts. You know, he's not spending it all on summertime. That's why he says right there, summertime, no Junes. You know, like he's not taking breaks. You know, he's not spending it on lavish vacations and things like that. He's trying to keep on building and building and building. And that's what we're trying to do. Keep on building so it sustains.
Right. Right. And that's the paradox as well. A lot of people, have the and again, it's the medium. Again, Buddha always taught, the Buddha always taught the middle way. So it's about equilibrium, and meaning that, everything has a middle path. So I understand a lot of people have the mentality, work hard, play hard. That's fine. But at the same time, keep your eye on down the road, the long-term effect. Why spend it all? Why mess it all off? Having these, incredible moments. You can still have these incredible moments without, going to the extreme. Learn a middle way. Learn a middle path to have. I'm gonna have an awesome time, but at the same time, I don't need diamonds on my pillow. Let me just have regular pillows. So just find that middle path to kind of cut corners, not really cut corners, but say something for the next generation, or learn how to have the techniques of increasing your money over the long term, learn how to compound your money. That's the nutshell. So I said that on 8 earlier. If you don't know how to have your habits, because everybody has their own vices and habits.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have it to where your income is running so fast that it surpasses your vices. Am I making sense? So if you have $5,000, if you spend $5,000 a month, you need to make 15. You need to make 20. Mm-hmm. The problem is that, and it's another thing I wanted to touch on before I get to your verses, is that people, and this is going to set up, this is a good segue for my next verses, but I'm going to let you get to your verses first. People that don't have the work ethic, don't have the funds, and want to have fun, that blows my mind. If you're broke and want to have all this fun, and you're budgeting to go on vacation, you're saving up to go on vacation, that doesn't make any sense to me. You work all week and then you go blow it on Saturday to go party. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yep.
That makes absolutely no sense. The thing about what I preach, and a couple of other people, Gary Vee and all that, sacrifice, eat ramen noodles for 2 years, sacrifice, and eat caviar the rest of your life. Sacrifice for 2 years, forget going out, forget going on dates, eat ramen noodles, put together a real illmatic game plan, and then that way you can eat caviar the rest of your life. I don't get, working and then trying to party like a rock star, and then the next day you're broke and you have to borrow money for lunch. I don't get that. Somebody's gonna have to explain that to me. I'll let you go in on that, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good philosophy to live by. Sometimes when you're young, it's hard to think like that. For sure, it takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of dedication and discipline. I think a lot of people, they don't have that discipline to be able to see it like that. And hopefully what you're saying will get through to a lot of people,
Why is that? Is it the excuse of I'm young so I can make mistakes?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't think people really gain wealth. The majority of people until they're in their 30s or 40s. So I think they're trying to experience or trying to figure out what they like to do, what they like to have fun to do, and then how can they accumulate wealth to be able to have that fun. I think that's like a lot about what the 20s is all about, trying to figure out, okay, what do I like? how do I have fun, and how can I sustain that fun. And then once they realize, like, oh crap, maybe I need to reevaluate, maybe I need to live life a little differently, like save money, don't eat at all the expensive restaurants and all this stuff. And they start to realize, like, oh, I can build that wealth, and it's not as hard as it seems.
Do you think people are programmed to mess up in their 20s? Do you think it's part of the programming?
Um, See, that's a hard question to ask because I think in
But think
America,
about it before you answer. Think about it.
well, I think in American society, we, we leave the nest at 18, and for most people, they've never lived by themselves, and most people never had hardships like to experience what reality of the real world is. We're so in this cookie cutter, and if you want to call it programming, sure, but I mean, it's like they haven't experienced what the real life is, and I think it's okay to take the pitfalls when you're young because especially if you learn from it, then you know what not to do, especially if you weren't taught. And I think a lot of today's society is we're not taught what to expect outside in the real world and in the reality outside of our parents and our perspective. Because with time in general, time gets faster the older we age because we've been on the planet longer. So when we're growing up, you don't really perceive the time because it's so slow moving. But once you start getting older and older and older, you realize, oh man, I spent a lot of time doing this and that instead of I should have been focusing on this or that, if that makes sense.
Right. But hear me out on the programming thing, because just like, when you're in your first 7 years, the theta stage, I think everything, we a programmable device. And you see all of the movies, the social media, and, it's like, and everybody, it gets a social partner as well. Oh, he's 20, he's young, he's right now. So it gets that part, and so it's like, okay, I'm young, so I'm supposed to mess up, so I do it. It's almost like some epigenetic type stuff. It's like, you know, I'm supposed to do this, so I do it, or I'm supposed to feel sorry for myself, so I feel sorry for myself. Just like a mother that constantly coddles that baby, and oh, he's not that strong, so all right, he's going to play that role. Oh, I'm not that strong, so you're programming this particular this person, and people play into the actual programming, I believe, and I think that's part of what it is. I think we can't escape the programming, and
Well,
that's why we mess up because we're in the United States. You're supposed to mess up in your 20s.
yeah, and I think that has to do with the parenting and the generational discourse
Right,
because
right, but even the parents can't escape the programming.
I know, and that's why our like the millennial generation is so special because like we can see past the general programmings.
Right.
Like some people are born gifted too, and like they can see past the programming at younger ages. Sometimes it takes people a lot longer to be able to realize, like, oh man, I have been programmed to buy gifts on every holiday of every
Right.
month.
That's
Spend my
part of the
money.
programming as well.
I
We're,
mean, yeah,
we're, we're programmed right now.
yeah, it's a good metaphor though, because you subconsciously like we're all and take these ideas and take them as facts. Like, okay, I have to spend $500-600 on Christmas gifts. I have to buy Valentine's. I have to do Easter. I have to do all these
Right.
things each
Every
month.
month is a different holiday.
Every month's a different holiday.
Who
Yes,
is Saint Valentine?
yeah. He was the
Was
patron
he
saint.
Irish?
I think so, something like that.
So we don't even know who Saint Valentine is.
Hmm.
You know, people don't know what Saturnalia is. They don't know this. They don't know about the Spring Rites Festival. They don't know that when I say, Mardi Gras, when I bless the cake, that means to sprinkle blood.
Hmm.
So I mean, they don't know what they're doing. So I think it's the same thing. You prove my point perfectly. I think it's the same thing with this fun thing. I think that in America, the United States of America, we're programmed to have fun. I think it's all geared. Look at social media. Look at the teenage movies. All of them are getting coked up and acting crazy, and you're supposed to. Every demographic has its own target programming. In the 30s, you're supposed to act like this. In the 40s, you're supposed to act like this. The 50s, you're supposed to do this. The 60s, you're supposed to do this. So all this micro targeting, this micro is programming your mental.
Yeah, I would agree.
If you want to talk about control, that's control.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't act outside of what the box that I created for you.
Yeah. But I think honestly, that's why the Ecclesiastes verse that I gave you is actually pretty good.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go into yours because
No, but it relates really well with that. It relates really well with what you're saying.
Yeah, let's go into that. Let's go into this. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, but probably in a second.
Hold on. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Hold on. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, but yeah, the Ecclesiastes one.
Can you see it?
Not yet. No.
I don't know what's going on with it. Hold on a second.
I can read it for you if you need me to.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead and read it. I can't. For some reason, my screen I want to share here. Let me try it one more time here. Hold on a second. Let's try to share entire screen. All right, what about now? Let's see.
Okay, there it went. Yep.
All right, can you see it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be Ecclesiastes 8 and 9.
All right, so go ahead, read it.
Okay. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new things under the sun.
All right, so you're gonna have to break that down because I don't. How does it relate to money and whatever we talk about?
Because no matter what we do as a human society, or all the programming that you were talking about, it's all the same and has always been the same. Everyone's going to be able to have what they want if they choose to have it or not, and that's the thing. It's like, are you going to have the fun, or are you going to save the money? Because nothing's ever new. It's been the same forever and ever. It's the human species. Nothing's changed. You have to work hard for what you want. And I think that's the general message, because if you don't work hard, it's not going to come to you.
Gotcha. What's your last one that you have?
Matthew 25.
All right, let's read this one.
And it's 14 through 31. It's a parable, so it's a metaphor.
Can you see my screen yet?
Not yet.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, there's nothing new under the sun. It keeps on going no matter what.
Right. I mean, under the sun, which means in this third density plane, it just switches, it just changes form. Like they say, like text messages, they used to tie a message on the bird's foot. That's the new version of communication.
Mm-hmm.
It just changes form for some reason. I don't know. It's stuck here. Let's see if I can get back. I'm stuck completely. It's not responding at all. Go ahead and read your. While I'm waiting on that, go ahead and read it for us.
Yeah, this one's a little longer. It's a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it goes, for the kingdom of heaven is a man traveling into a far country, who called on his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and another 1, to every man according to his several abilities, and straightways took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them another 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged into the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought the other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside me 5 more talents. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over the few things. I will make thee ruler of many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. He also he also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler of many things. Enter thou to the joy of the world. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art had man reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there hast that is my thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I have reaped where I sowed not, and gathered where I have not sowed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money into exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talents from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that shall been given, he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not been taken away, even that which he hath, and cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of the teeth.
All right, so you had to break that down. And
Yeah,
my whole thing is seized up, so I'm waiting for it to
yeah.
unseize. We're gonna keep recording while
So
it's seized.
basically, it talks about like we always talk about staying in your own lane, right? God gave the man 5 talents, the other man 2 and 1, and 2 of the men had that insight to be able to take benefit of what he was given and then made the exact same thing. He wasn't greedy, he was staying in the middle, and in his reward, he was be able to have joy of abundance. The same thing goes with the man who only had 2. It doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, you have to always be giving it to the higher power, never for self, because okay, he gave you two talents, this is going to be yours. You're going to have a job and a family. There you go. Work with that, and you're going to have a blessed life. And he did it, and God rewarded him with that blessed life. But the man who was greedy and wanted more than 1 talent started to dig inside the world and try to build something that wasn't his. And when he came to the end, God smited him for that because that's not what he deserved. And he was punished. And the moral of the story is you work with what you are given. You can change and do everything you want, but you always want to do it for God and never for self. Anytime you do it for the ego, you'll always falter and you'll get blown down like the 3 little pigs. That house was made of straw and not the brick of love and support and cherishment. You know.
Right, right. My screen is frozen, so I can't get into anything. I'm not sure what. But I'll have you read my next one, and then we'll go into it. But I'll comment on what you. I get what you're saying. This is the reason, and the last twist on it makes me in agreement with it. Like I said, um, that if it's for ego purposes, then it won't happen. But if you're doing it for a greater good, then you it could come into fruition. But this is what this is what I always talk about as well, as far as talent. Always outdoing yourself, creating your own experience, and because think about it, uh if I just played the hand I was dealt, I'll still be stuttering, I'll still be a chubby dude, I'll still never left my hometown. So my thing is always take, don't accept what you're given. Um, do what dream big, big, and take a pragmatic approach and accomplish. what you want to accomplish, because you are the creator, or many creator.
And my
But
that's the whole
do it with that spiritual. I mean, not really spiritual, because that means Brett ritual. But I mean, you got to do it with that foundation. So yeah, with that last statement, that if it's, you know, Allah's will, then it shall be done. But you know, so it has to be the will in accordance. You know, but you can't. You know, and if it will be, then it shall be.
yeah,
Does
that's
that
why
make sense?
yeah, that's what he was saying. The last man didn't listen though. He went and did his own thing, you know, not in and with the accordance to God's law, you know, like for what you were saying about your life, you know, maybe at the beginning those were just two of the five, you know, and now you're at four, you know, and now
Right.
you're trying to get that last one, you know, and we do it for the abundance of God. And that's why I said for the person who had two, maybe it's just family and a job, you know. But the reason why it's the number one for the last one is because he has to fight his ego the whole time and he didn't listen. And so he had to give up what he had possessed and had to start all over.
Right, right. I'm gonna have you read mine because my screen is seized up. Can you see the whole screen here, or is it partial?
No, I can see us two talking.
Gotcha. Okay. Read Ephesians 5 15 through 21.
Is that new or old?
I'm not sure. You can just
Okay.
go.
Well, I'm looking through right now. I think Ephesians is old, if I'm not mistaken.
And like I said, pardon for the technical difficulties. My screen is all the way frozen, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna get off the line, but we'll deal with that when we when we get to it.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, it's Old Testament 5:39.
Yeah, 5:15 through 21.
Okay, actually, it's New Testament. Sorry, Ephesians. Okay, chapter what?
5,
Okay, 3 through 9,
15 through 21.
15 through 21. Okay. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melodies in your heart to the Lord. You said through 20, right?
21.
21. Giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God.
Right. So to kind of piggyback on what you're talking about, as long as if it be the will of the creator, the one, the source, then yes. And once you get into the ego, and again, everything when people do stuff in access, that could be perceived as ego as well. You know, again, like we talked about earlier, the middle path. Everything is in moderation, equilibrium. You know, and so when you do anything in access, like all right, every weekend I'm going party, every weekend I'm doing this, I'm gonna party till I'm broke. I'm spending all my money. Or I got a drug habit, $1,000 a week, and I only make $1,000 a week. You know, so that becomes the problem. That's when you start spending out of control. You know, and the thing about monetary, about the system, it does require discipline. You know, so that's why I don't preach against it. I understand, like a lot of people, I think it's a cop out. I think a lot of money is evil. I think the lust for money is evil. I think if you use cosmic currency, and I think this system actually teaches you discipline. You know, and actually you could act it's charity as well. There's a lot of things that can. It's not about the vessel itself. Is what you do with the vessel. It's like with Star Wars. It's not the Force is the same for the Sith or the Jedi. It's what you do with the Force. And you go ahead and chime in on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, everything is excess. You know, it's one of the seven deadly sins. Gluttony is the definition for excess, not just for eating. It's actually for ingesting anything. Anything that is considered a deadly sin, because usually you'll die from it. If you
Right.
drink too much, do too many, party too much, if you do all these things, it's gluttony. It's a
Right.
sin.
You're gonna recycle your own energy.
Hmm.
So if you're a sex fiend, you're gonna most likely get an STD. If you know what I mean,
Hmm.
anything. You're a speed demon. You like to chase cars. I mean,
Probably gonna
speed.
get a car crash.
Yeah, go get a car wreck. So you constantly a cycle of your own energy. You mistreat women and beat on women and stuff like that. You might, have a daughter that, might, chase bad boys. So karma is real. That's one of the seven hermetic principles. The laws of cause and effect. Let's read this last one. Let's get out of here. First Timothy 5:8. Let's wrap it up with that. And I don't know why my screen sees what it has, but let's keep the party going.
Okay. See, I know where Timothy's at. Hold on. Timothy, Titus. There it is, Timothy. Is it First Timothy or Second Timothy?
First Timothy 5:8. First Timothy 5:8.
Sorry, you said verse.
5, chapter 5, verse 8.
Okay, it's just one verse. Okay,
Yep.
okay. First Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
Read that one more time, slowly.
Okay. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
So that basically wraps it all up, what we're talking about. Um, it says, those who do not provide, especially for his own house, especially for your own family, is worse than an infidel. So we could deny this system all we want. Like, oh man, this is wicked. I'm gonna go into a hiatus and I'm gonna go off the grid. But you got kids that rely on this system. You have, your women that rely on this system. So we're gonna have to, man up, so to speak, and make change within the system. You chose to come here of your own free will and accord. Yes, it's not perfect. Yeah, there are imperfections within the system, but the champions weather the storm. The champions turn tragedy to triumph. They don't run from it. They don't become non-participant. When has not participating in something ever changed anything?
Yeah, it hasn't.
So people that hey, I'm gonna boycott the system. I'm gonna run from the system. I'm gonna try to hide from the system. It won't work. All that's basically loser talk to me. You talk to me. Unless you come up with a system and with your own army that's better than this system, you need to work within the system and become a champion within the system. And I'm gonna rest my case at that.
Yeah,
Steve, I let you go in. Yeah.
and yeah, it's fine. Like I like how you use the metaphor for family as the system. And
Right.
just bring it down a little smaller. It's like your family is your family. You got to work with them, be with them, try to help build with them. It's those funds. You have to work the system to be able to provide, and that's the whole idea for mankind, is to provide and provide for
Right.
people who are less fortunate. That's what charity is being able to take care of someone who can't take care of themselves. And
Right.
that,
And it said especially for people in your own household.
yeah, and that comes from love. The love of the creator, who helps guide us to those journeys where we are able to help people.
Well, that's the ultimate ego saying, all right, I'm gonna let this child starve, or I don't care about this child. I just care about my agenda. I just care about proving a point to the world, which the world doesn't care about. But I'm gonna prove a point that I don't have to partake in this system. So I'm gonna let this child starve because I want to prove a point. That's the ultimate ego. That shows the ultimate selfishness. Am I making sense, Steve?
Yeah, yeah, because you get what you give. If you want to
Right.
help and take what it is from the system, you gotta be.
But that's what the over or render the Caesar with Caesar's,
Mhm.
right? You're not going to get around it unless you got an army and you're going to overthrow your government and replace it with you got to replace it with something. You just can't delete. What are you going to replace it with?
Yeah, and and the system is fine, right? It's just like,
Right,
you gotta work. That's what we're here to do is work
right.
and work and build. And like I said, it goes back to that Matthew 25 is like, you work. Some people might have five, some people might have two. But you work with what you're given always.
Gotcha. And again, we're having technical difficulties. My screen is freezed up, so I can't. I'm not going to promote on the out because I can't pull up anything. So I'm gonna just go ahead and disconnect for to end the show. But let's go ahead and do the outro real fast. Um, again, I'm gonna go ahead, Steve, and tell them where they can find you and stuff like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and we're gonna go ahead and see you next week.
Yep. So yeah, just final thoughts is just love everybody like you want people to love you. And the world goes round. Try to build for your family and future generations, and try to have fun too, because it's all vanity in the end anyway. So,
Right.
Stephen Contreras on Facebook, Stephen Contreras underscore 90 on Instagram, or Stephen underscore Contreras underscore 90 on Instagram. You can cash at me at Stephen C1234. And I hope everyone has a great holidays and hopefully see you guys next week. So,
All right. Final thought on this again. If you're broke, man, I don't see where you have the audacity to um, have fun. I would say have a little discipline. Get a game plan together, make your goals, and I think that you'll have a lot more fun if you had the financial backing to have fun properly. Um, I give you an example, like when the bodybuilder, when I in the bodybuilding, which I'm getting back into probably next year. I'm already starting, but when you abstain from eating sugar and bread and carbohydrates for so long, when you do finally eat those carbohydrates, they taste 10 times better. A piece of cake tastes like heaven on earth. But if you eat that cake every day, it doesn't taste the same. In fact, you don't even taste it at all at that point. It's the same with any type of sin or sensation. You have sex every day. Sex doesn't even feel good anymore. It's almost like a workout. But if you abstain from sex and then you wait for that right person that you have a connection with, an emotional connection with, it's 100 times better than casual sex. Am I making sense, Steve?
yeah, you are. Yeah.
So this life is all about moderation. Yes, we could do everything to the extreme, but the experience is not the same when you do it in moderation. That's why the Buddha preached the middle path, the middle way. Get out of your ego again. Get out of your ego, and you're not going to bypass the system. The system is set up. We gave you several Bible verses to show you that it's all goes hand in hand.
Nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new under the sun. So you're not going to usurp the system. So get with the system, and especially if you want to talk about love, demonstrate love by providing for your family, providing for your future family, taking care of your kids. These are your responsibilities, especially if you have the audacity or you to make a child. Now you have to have the responsibility because you are able to produce a child. Now you have to respond to those abilities, which to take care of that child. and to take care of that family. This is what it is. So you can't leave kids, and I got kids here and there, and then saying I want to go off the grid. It doesn't make sense. And that shows that's ultimate ego, and that's ultimate contradiction. If you're talking about love, how can you love something that you don't provide for? And we demonstrated that within the text, within the scriptures. So with that, I'm not gonna keep y'all too long. Again, we're gonna say that God is a verb, and personal responsibility is your only savior. With that, we're gonna say peace.
Peace.
And let's see if I can exit.